And we are live. And as you might notice, there's somebody not here because she is in a alternate location right now, and I'll bring her in right there. There you go. There's Samantha. Hi, Samantha.
Hello, how are you?
I'm
Nice
okay.
to see you. We are live. Welcome everyone to our Facebook Live, where every Tuesday we like to bring back an episode from our previous season, show it with you, our community, and then give you a behind the scenes look at the creative process, what went on to put that show on of our Places to Love, our Emmy Award winning travel series on PBS. And yes, I'm Samantha Brown. Did we announce ourselves? I forget. I'm all screwed up, Kevin. Now that I'm here and you're there, and it just
You are
feels.
country
But for a lot
Samantha
of
Brown.
you, hey, I'm wearing plaid, not ironically, Mr. Brooklyn guy.
It's
Um,
true.
no, but some of you may recognize this set. This was our original Facebook Live
That's right.
location when we were coming to you during lockdown. Kevin and I are very lucky. We've had a place in upstate New York for, oh gosh, 12, 15 years. And this
Yeah.
is where we hunkered down, and this is where we came to you first. So it's great to be back. I don't know if Jeff is in the house yet, but I remember he used to make a comment about what fruit or various onions would be behind me on the mantelpiece, because that's where we would put things. Sometimes it would
He
be like
did.
3 apples. Sometimes it would be like, so Jeff, are you there?
He's there.
We've got apples for you, Jeff. I've got a variety of citrus. There's one tomato that is not looking so good, and plenty of garlic. That's this way. Yeah, yeah. So you can see the full range of, and then if you look above, that's my painting of my radishes. So as you
Yeah.
can tell, I really love vegetables. Keep them there all the time. Am I back
Hey,
to a normal place? Kevin, probably just a little higher.
we're talking about Big Sky, Montana tonight, and we'll get to the show in a little bit. But I thought that just to kind of make this look a little nicer, I got a little Big Sky background there for you.
Oh, woo,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Woo.
we try.
All right, Kevin. I like that. Nice and festive. Is that the mountain? Is that Big
That's
Sky?
Lone Mountain,
Lone
Big
Mountain.
Sky, Montana. Lots
People
of
ski
songs written
down
about Big
that.
Sky. Lots
Yeah,
of
what
yeah,
are they?
yeah. Well, Big Sky Country for Chris. Oh boy, I had that all. I had that all in my head. Robbie
Yeah.
Robertson wrote a song about Showdown in Big Sky with the
Oh,
Bodines.
okay.
That was a
Okay.
beautiful album from the mid. It's almost like a U2 album because it was Daniel Lanois produced it, who produced the Joshua Tree. So it sounded a lot like the Joshua Tree,
Oh,
which is not a
well,
bad thing.
that's not a bad thing.
Nope, not a bad thing. Classic Robbie. It might be Robbie Robertson's first solo album, but wonderful. But there was a song about Big Sky. I think it was Big Sky. Um, yeah, and then Chris Smithers, I think, did a song about Big Sky Country. Yeah,
Nice.
it's a kind of a romantic part of the world, and we were really, really lucky to be there. Before we start getting into our details, I got a little just reminisce about last week, our Facebook
Oh,
Live on location with the family, with my parents and the
oh my
kids.
gosh. That's like a medieval painting, right? Like that's like you could read the room of someone said something and someone's going to lose their head. There's little Lord Fauntleroy in the background, the prince who doesn't want to be there at all. There's the charming princess who just
There's
everyone
only
loves.
one person making eye contact.
That's hysterical. That's a great photo. I love it.
Yeah.
Um, for all of
My
you who
dad sent
tuned
me a
in,
bill, by the way. He sent me
oh, we
a
did. I'm
location
sure.
fee. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what to do with that.
For all of you who tuned in last week and saw us at Kevin's parents' house, what was so adorable about that is once everything was done and the lights were off and the Facebook was done, Kevin's mother turned to Kevin and said, "Would you like a piece of cake and some ice cream now?" And Kevin was like, "Uh huh." And I was like, "Kevin, was this your favorite Facebook Live ever? Are you gonna have a piece of cake, Kevin, at the end of this?"
Yeah,
No.
I think I deserve that. There's a comment, someone saying my audio is not great, and then someone said it is. So let me know what's going on there, because I'm going off the meter, and the meter seems pretty good. So I can maybe boost it a little bit just to say I did.
Okay.
Um,
All right. So, what's
uh,
the cocktail today?
yeah, thank you. The cocktail is from our friends at the Rocks Tasting Room in Big Sky. I called up Kara, who honestly I felt like it was my oldest friend and I hadn't talked to her since I was there scouting the show 2 years ago.
So Kara is
Yeah,
in the show for those of you who haven't seen The
yeah.
Big Sky. So you're about to see her, but we did a great scene with her and her husband, who own a great, really phenomenal bar, liquor store, beer
Hmm.
store. Right, you can get beer there as well, and then they make a fantastic. They have a great menu as well. So great all around scene for
So
us.
she sent me some basically their drinks menu because I thought I'd use that something from inspiration, and it's a really fun cocktail menu. But all of their cocktails, they're kind of ones they created in house, are really specific to Montana ingredients and in Montana booze that you can only get there kind of stuff. So I went with one of their classics from their menu, which is they call the Vendrome, but it's basically a brown derby, which is a classic 1930s cocktail from Hollywood. Real simple: bourbon, grapefruit juice, and honey. It's nice. Cheers.
Lovely. Cheers. We got a lot of people in the house with us joining us this Tuesday. Carrie Kyler is here. Carrie Kyler is a dear friend from my Travel Channel days. She was head of programming. I hope I'm not calling you out, Carrie, on anything. But great to see you, Carrie. Audio is great here, Roland said. Vic. Regina
Yeah.
is here. Jeff is here. I think Elizabeth should host her own amusement park show. That's so true. Best summer ever. Colleen Casey is here. Daniel is here. Wonderful. We got almost the whole crew. Brian Miller, head of DP. He is the director of photography for Places to Love and has been since the beginning. And we've worked with Brian for, oh my gosh, Brian, how many years now? 18, 20? Incredible.
20.
So you're about to
It was
see his
2004 was our first
That's
first show with
incredible.
Brian.
Changed our life. It really
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
And so you will see his beautiful camera work on this show, as well as Josh White, who is second camera. Kristen, greetings from Central Florida. Charles
Hey,
Kyler is also in the house. They should be drinking
hey.
the drinks because I remember they used to always create the
They did.
cocktails.
Yeah. So
Okay,
I
they
love that
did.
they're
All
on
right.
separate accounts because they both in their own accounts chimed in, which means they're on two different devices. That's awesome. Marianne Henson says hi from Bozeman, which is just up the road,
Wow.
I think, from Big Sky. I always thought it was north
You
of
are
Big Sky, but yeah, you're a lucky
living the
lady, Mary.
dream. Yeah, you really are. That is such a great, great, great city. Oh gosh, now I'm on page 2. This is great. Cindy is here. Hello.
Regina has a very important question.
What's that?
How's the Swedish fish supply?
Oh my gosh, Regina, you win for
Yeah.
best memory recall ever. Yeah, my it's there's
Oh,
it turned into
Dan was in there
peanut
too.
M&Ms.
Dan
Was he?
asked the same
Okay,
question.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was my old candy jar. Can you see the candy jar from here? Can you see
You
it?
need
Oh,
to
it's
turn
right
it a little
here.
bit.
Oh,
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah.
It's right by the rooster.
Here, let me
It's
let me
now it
help
has
out a little
Christmas
bit.
decoration.
I'll cut to the full screen so they can see a little bit.
Okay, there you go. So I put truth be told, Regina and Dan, I replaced the Swedish fish with peanut M&Ms and made myself sick eating them every night. I couldn't control myself. So now it's just we're putting a decorative Santa in there. That's like a pointy Santa with some decorations. But yeah, the Swedish fish could come back because I was pretty I could control myself with Swedish fish. Also, you can't eat too many, or you just your mouth becomes stuck, right? So, but peanut M&Ms, oh, I can't stop
Co-
doing that.
Colleen asked what DP stands for, and that's our director of photography. And so we're going to do a little talk about behind the scenes a little bit today. But basically, the director of photography is not only running a camera, but also kind of responsible for that whole department about what cameras we're using, what settings on the camera, all that kind of technical stuff. But bigger decisions about where we're going to set things up, working with the director. So it's more of a management, not the right role, but it's kind of an executive function that's way above just running a camera. It's making
Yeah,
bigger
he's very
decisions.
artistic. Brian creates beautiful shots. We will be somewhere where I'm like, I don't know about this. And just Brian's angle, how he tilts it, how he creates a depth of field completely changes the shot. And a lot of times I don't see it until now when we're going over the new season and you just see his beautiful work. But he is the eye. He is the creative behind what you see, whether it's me talking or just, the whole background. he makes it happen. So he is instrumental in our show, and we love him. And he's part of our family.
Just, I was going to say that, I know a lot of people are on Facebook right now, but we do have a YouTube channel that allows you not only to watch older episodes, and this is the fun thing. I uploaded our first 4K episode, and that's a little secret tip there, that our show is filmed in 4K, but it's always been released on PBS in HD. And so since I had the source files and YouTube handles 4K, I decided to put them up in 4K. So that's kind of an exciting thing there on our YouTube channel. And it's Real Samantha Brown, one big word. And that'll get you there to have not only the shows, the full episodes for the first season and the first episode of the second season, but all of these live broadcasts are saved there. So if you ever missed one or wanted to go back and relive our Swedish Fish magnificence, you can do that. And we also have some kind of sizzles and things like that. So there's lots of stuff on our YouTube channel. So we're really happy to kind of support that. In July of next year, Samantha is going to be on the Alma Magna, her ship. She's the godmother. That's July 28th. And you can go on a cruise with Samantha Brown. I'm hoping I can go. Still waiting to hear on that one.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm trying to do my best. It's the new year. I'm trying to do my best. But if you call 800-626-0126 and reference those codes below, SB 2024 or SB 2024 Solo, you'll get a 20% discount. And that only is good for this month. So just a little nudge there. And then next year, it's kind of fun to say that 2025 is next year. She's doing the lower Danube. And then that's the same code, just SB 2025, and there's a $750 discount there, or a discounted supplemental, single supplement thing there. So really excited about being back on the Danube with our awesome sponsor, Alma Waterways. And I know that I have been on a lot of those cruises with Sam and her fans, and it's a lot of fun because she's there with everybody hanging out. She does a couple talks, hosts some dinners.
You can't shut me up.
No. I sometimes run cocktail drinking classes at the bar. Not making, but drinking. And yeah, that's our excitement for our cruises. Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest news this week.
What's the biggest news this week?
This weekend, season 7 starts coming out.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
it just all of a sudden is here. It's incredible. Yeah.
All that work.
Are we going to create a little, show them a little tease or something?
And
these are people who showed up on Tuesday night.
The 200 something people watching right now, that you could get to see the first sneak peek of the first episode from Darwin, Australia. And that's, we put a little picture up on our website now, but I'd like to run our first little sizzle video of our first episode that's airing this weekend on PBS. Here we go.
I'm in a destination that is so stunningly wild, every experience feels completely new. A tucked-away location that combines a frontier heartiness with a quirky and playful style. It's where one of the world's oldest cultures created a deep love for its unique earth and captivating animals. Animals you'll have no problem getting an introduction to. And connecting all of this is an international city with an enviable outdoor way of life. I'm in Darwin and the top end of Australia.
Yay, Darwin! Oh, I'm really excited about this. Yeah. Great episode to kick off our season 7. So much energy. So, I think when people think of Australia, it's just always about Sydney and, of course, the Northern Territories, which Darwin is, but they go to Alice Springs, right? Or Uluru to that mount. But this is a very different area of Australia that even most Australians themselves haven't been to. And yet when you're there, it's, oh my gosh, it's like... It was incredible. And I think what makes it really interesting, it was actually our last episode that we filmed of this series, and it goes first. So it's really fresh in my mind because we were just there in September. So, oh my gosh, just so much fun. And really, the culture there is really different, unexpected from what you would expect in Australia. And yeah, I think it's just going to be a really cool episode. People are going to love it.
I think for me, I've been really fortunate to have spent, I think, 2 months of my life in Australia over 4 trips, and including spending a whole month there for business when I was my 20s. But it was always Sydney and a little bit of Melbourne.
Yeah.
Going to Darwin, I really felt like I finally was in Australia. Like,
Yes.
Because
Yes.
Sydney and Melbourne are awesome cities. I'm not taking anything away from that, but Darwin is, it's Australia. It's on the edge of the outback.
Yeah.
It's everything you think about when you think of, I think that's where Steve Darwin was. Steve
Irwin
Irwin
was
was
from. Yeah, he was. Yeah.
But yeah, so it was a really special place. I know that
Amazing people.
Yeah,
Amazing people.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have a lot to talk about when we do that Facebook Live in a year, I think. But yeah, so we're really excited. And if you go to samb.tv/watch, you can find, that's the easiest way to get to the website, our website, which is normally samantha-brown.com. And you have to kind of click around on TV, how to watch, to put in your own zip code to find when your local PBS station is airing it, because it is different in every market. But it's, yeah. Oh, I have a little trivia question. Jarellin asked, how did Darwin come to be named Darwin? Fun fact, it was named not by Darwin, but a guy that was kind of worked with him. Basically the Beagle carried on without Darwin later on. He stayed in the UK, I guess, and the Beagle went down there. So it was in Australia, and so when they found this big bay, and they named Darwin the city after him, but he wasn't there himself.
He's never stepped foot, right. Fascinating history, though. Really amazing history about Darwin that you'll find out when you watch the show. Really, again, unexpected. Just really, it was funny when we were in Melbourne and people were saying, well, where are you going next? We said Darwin. Even the people of Melbourne were like, wow, that's awesome. I've never been there. So it's a really special place. But we've got a new special place that we're going to be showing now, which is Montana. Montana is one of my favorite places in the world. I've been going there since the very beginning of my travel career. I went there for Great Vacation Homes, which was my very first season with the Travel Channel. And I couldn't believe it. I'm from New Hampshire, where everything's pretty tight quarters, beautiful but tight quarters, and then it really is big sky. So I've returned probably every year since. Every 2 years I've gone back to Montana, and you can't get enough of that state. It's just this exalted feeling of being there. But Kevin, before we showed up with our cameras and started filming, he did the pre-pro. And like we said, we love to do these Facebook Lives to really get you just more in tune with how we create the show. And Kevin was there first. And Kevin has this great video of what he brings with him on these pre-production shoots. This isn't just him kind of with a notepad taking down notes. He brings almost, well, not as much, but a lot of gear that you may not associate with someone just doing a visit on a pre-pro. And I think you have that video lined up.
So, here we go.
All right, in my backpack here, of course, got my camera, and that's a 24 to 70. Got my 70 to 200. I got an 18 millimeter wide. Obviously, cards for that. Got filters for those guys. Batteries. This is my GoPro batteries, actually. I use that to check the sensor to make sure that I don't dust on the sensor. I got burned a couple times where I dust on the sensor and kind of ruined the shot. I got a light just in case I need on camera. Some cleaning for the sensor and for lenses and stuff. I got my trusty notebook, water bottle, sunglasses, headlamp, Leatherman, laptop. There's my USB hard drive. I got my microphone if I want to do any sort of natural sound for the B-roll. That's my tripod. I have brought my second filter set, which is a little more tricky for snow stuff that I got able to do graduated filtering stuff. And this has also got a 6-stop ND, which think the best I got here is 4. And so if it's really bright outside, it's nice to have the extra ND here, so I got that with it as well. I brought my mini slider that's motorized.
All right, that'll go on all day, I think. But yeah, so lots of. Did I lose you, Sam? You there?
No, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, I brought a lot of gear to for that trip, and
that backpack is like 50 pounds.
Yeah,
it's awful.
It's awful. It's awful. I hate it. I hate everything about that backpack. Got some other. This was the first. So this was the first episode we filmed and that I scouted for season 6, and it was in February. I was there in Montana, and this is what happened the first morning.
Well, so it's -3 right now. Big fun thing is that my glasses fogged up and then froze on the spot. That's gonna be fun to do. But we'll figure it out. Yay,
Yeah, that was the first morning. But then I'll stop after this.
Yeah.
Then I had the best. Just the weather got nicer towards the end of the week. Another gorgeous morning here on the Gallatin River. I'm doing trying to do some slider work on the riverbank. You can see right there that the water's going underneath the ice. Right there. But it's beautiful, clear morning. Man, it's nice out here. Balmy 20 degrees, but pretty cool. Yeah, that was just being on that river. I mean, you fished on it. It was, in that weather and everything else was it's pretty fun.
I love the winter. So when you sent me that was -3, I was like, yes, I love snow. I love cold. I'm a New England girl. So I was so ready to do a winter episode. And this was really special for us because we don't do many winter episodes. This was,
right,
for me, awesome. I could not wait to get here. And I think you'll see in how I am in the episode. So should we start it?
Yeah, two last little pictures. I found this as I was going through my roll. This is me reading Harry Potter to my daughter from the hotel room. We were going through the entire Harry Potter series, and then Samantha has her travel tips. I have my own. I travel a lot, and we stayed at a really nice Residence Inn in Big Sky. It was lovely, brand new, and they had kind of a full size kitchen with like a normal size fridge with a normal size freezer. And, I like to have a cocktail in the room at the end of the day, a nice bourbon. And that hotel ice is so awful. This is what I do. You put water in a pint glass, freeze it, and then you get a nice big cube in your room. It's a much nicer experience to have that, nice big cube cocktail in your room. Anyway. You're
a cocktail survivalist.
Yeah.
You would make it out there in the winter. Yeah.
Somebody one day will do that and be like, thanks, Kevin. Thank you. All right. Shall we get started? I gotta figure out where that all is. Okay. Here we go.
How's that? Do you hear people? Well, now we'll start the show, but the sound was off on yours and mine.
Yeah, but then other people said it was fine,
Thank you.
I was kind of confused by that. Yeah. All right.
I'm in a destination where on average 400 inches of powder falls on close to 6,000 skiable acres, all under a colossal peak that soars to 11,000 feet. It's a place where mountain water flows, inspiring a skill, a sport, and an art, where ranches have been welcoming people for 100 years, and a museum takes us further back than that. It's a destination where open space and fresh air is plenty, where people come to enjoy a lot of action or a chance to be very still. I'm in Big Sky, Montana. I'm Samantha Brown, and I've traveled all over.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I'm already wondering where the snow is here in New York. Come on, snow, 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 snow.
Well, I tell you, Kara said from the Rocks tasting room that we'll see that there's not much snow in Big Sky yet. So, they're still waiting for that to happen over there.
Yep. I feel like they'll be able to make it no problem, where we might have a problem here.
Yeah, their idea of snow is different than our idea of snow, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. So we've got some of our sponsors here. This is Holland America. We did a really beautiful Alaska cruise with them. And then we did a Norwegian cruise this past summer where we just traveled up the coast of Norway. And that we did not shoot like our Alaska cruise, which is what you're seeing here. We just had fun with our family. Rocky Mountaineer, a great train ride. Has anyone taken this train trip yet? This is, I think, the only passenger train through the United States, through the Rockies. You start in Utah, Moab, Utah, go to Denver, Colorado. And then, what do we have here? AAA.
That's AAA, yeah.
Excellent. Nice.
AAA has services to help you before, during, and after your trip. Learn more at AAA.com/live TV.
And then our Alma Waterways friends. That's the Alma Magna there. That you'll be sailing on the Danube with Samantha Brown, who'll be talking the whole time about how it's her ship because she's the godmother. Which is pretty awesome.
Because that's true. That is true.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, Barbara Lahaki was on the train with you a few years
Is that
ago.
right?
Yeah,
Oh, lovely.
That's fun.
The one in the United States one or the Canada
I
one?
think so, yeah.
I should say.
It's 7 a.m., and there's already a massive effort in place to make certain that these ski slopes are fun-filled. And that effort is seasoned, well-trained, and adorable.
Sela's 4 years old and she's been working her whole life up here, so yeah, she's an avalanche search and rescue dog. So what these dogs are trained to do is they're trained to smell out human scent underneath the snow. So in the event of an avalanche, they can actually pinpoint where that human is buried, give us a dig alert, start barking, and alert us to where a person is potentially buried.
Dan Skilling has been a member of the Ski Patrol for 14 years and is the training coordinator of their dog program. And like all Ski Patrol personnel, he is a trained EMT.
So Dan, on its busiest day, how many people are on this mountain?
On a really busy day in Big Sky, there could be thousands of people up on the hill.
Thousands.
Yeah.
And you and your team are responsible for every single one of them.
Yeah, we sure are. I have a lot of help from a lot of different folks too as well. Before anybody even steps foot on the mountain, we come up super early. We arm up our avalanche explosives, and then we go out in the mountain and hunt for avalanches, really. So our main job is to create avalanches so that our guests don't create them themselves.
My whole brain stopped after you said we hunt for avalanches.
Yeah.
So how do you know? Is the whole mountain possibly prone to a sort of an avalanche?
We go to specific zones that are known to avalanche, and we place explosives or throw them by hand, creates a big blast, and that makes all the snow kind of go down and go away. So
You
there are
throw the
specific-
explosives by hand?
That's just to get the mountain open and make sure it's safe.
Okay, so you start your own avalanche so they don't cause harm to anybody.
Yep.
That doesn't work. A real avalanche happens and people are under the snow. That's where Tila comes in.
That's where we come into play, yeah.
Tila is part of a team of 9 avalanche dogs and puppies in training. I'm helping with the very fundamentals of sniffing people out under the snow.
Why does she want to save people? What makes her want to do that?
So it's just like a high prey drive. Well, this is her toy.
Okay.
When she comes in, she's gonna come right for it.
Yeah.
She's gonna grab it, and you can go, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, yes, yes, good girl, yeah. And that's her reward, is this tug. And she'll actually pull you right out of the hole like this. So they're hunting and looking for that prey, and their reward by tugging is that simulation of tearing meat off the bone. So it sounds a little morbid, but that's why they're that's why they're looking
sign up
for
for
you.
this.
Yeah.
I thought they were happy that I was going to be alive. Now they get a treat. Like I had this totally wrong. I'm dead and I'm prey, and that dog gets to eat.
Yeah, her kind
Going
of
back
primal
hundreds of years.
instincts.
Primal
Yeah.
instincts.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Being under there, even though it's totally controlled, you do start to wonder what it would be like to be buried underneath the snow, and that fear starts to set in.
Well, here's to helping keep the primal instincts fresh.
Search.
I'm 125 pounds of dead weight, and feeling Tila's forceful pull brings even more respect for this noble job.
Still, after all of this, all the technology we have,
Yeah,
no one can
we
say.
have beacons, avalanche transceivers. These dogs are faster than any sort of technology. Tila, come here.
it's really hard to really get a clear.
Pretty cool.
I think Dan said it right. Dogs with Jobs. Is there anything better? And actually, that was a show that was out for a while. I mean, this was probably like 20, 25 years ago, Dogs with Jobs. And Tila was incredible. And I love the fact that nothing can replace dogs in this department. I mean, when we were in Switzerland, we found the same thing, right? They have all the tracking that they can have, all the technology, helicopters to rescue people, but the best possible thing that rescues people is a dog. And it was just really exciting to see her at work because they need to keep that training up.
You know, last week when we featured the Alaska sled dogs, someone asked, they were kind of just asked a question like, are those dogs well taken care of? And, you don't want animal cruelty kind of thing. And I was just amazed when we did that scene in Alaska that all the dogs started barking like crazy. And I was like, what's going on? Why are they? And the guy's like, they want to run. That's all they want to do is run. They're standing around like wondering why they're not running right now. And it's just, that's their sense of purpose. And, there's such a lovely thing about that it's not like they're being forced to do this. They want to do it.
Yeah, I agree. Save people. Or, well, not really. not Tila, right? It's primal.
Yeah. Jeff made a good point. Those dogs, we got to keep wondering, why do all these stupid people get stuck in the same place under the snow? People are idiots.
A picture of how massive this mountain is. And even on the top, now that I'm here, it's still hard. It is a very unique resort.
The peak here, it's a horn peak, which we don't have. You don't see a lot of ski resorts that are like that. And you have 360 degrees of skiing. And so each different aspect of this mountain has its own individual feel. And that could be when you're up on the peak in the more extreme terrain, or it can be on the lower mountain in the more beginner terrain.
Christine Baker is head of mountain sports here. But even after 21 years in the business, she's got her work cut out with me.
The first time I had a lesson was in 1981. That was the last time I've had a lesson. I feel like there's also a style that I have that is in the 80s and 90s. And so the style of skiing has changed, right?
And some of that style was based on the equipment. We had these really
Super
long skis. You would reach your hand up there and make sure that the ski went up there, and they were narrow and they were straight.
Yep.
Can you stop it?
Is helping us out a lot more. So we
I just wanted to point out, and because I think Brian has also mentioned this, just how difficult it is to be shooting these scenes with the frigid cold. We came up before this mountain was even open to get our shots. So we had the first snow, which was amazing. But when we got to the top, I think it was below 12. I forget. We got up very early and we were up on that mountain by like 7 a.m. And so it was super cold. So we're doing this scene, Christine and I, and she stops us from filming and says, you're beginning to, your nose is beginning to have frostbite. And I was like, what? And sure enough, I couldn't feel it anymore. She's like, we need to stop. And so we kind of stopped, we warmed up, and we started again. So equipment needed special attention. The host needed special attention. I think we were all working really hard to keep everything in working order, right, Brian? It would be great for him to talk a little bit more about what they did with their camera equipment, because that's a whole other challenge with this shoot.
And I think we hired...
But then we were the first ones down that slope. We got to, oh my gosh, I was so happy. But
I think we
I was
hired
happy to have frostbite.
We hired a third camera person from Montana that just does skiing filming. So it was just like we got an extra coverage for that. Brian is saying it was cold.
It was cold.
Yeah. And also my mom's saying, hey, that's she loves that ski bib.
That's right. That is actually Carolyn's ski bib from the 80s. I love it. It was vintage to me. I mean, heck, I was from the 80s, but I loved it was perfect. So thank you, Carolyn. It kept me very warm. And I look great on skis. Watch this.
To make quite as dramatic of moves, we can dial it in. And so we can just give some pointers to help you have more fun. We don't need to, change a lot of different things.
Feels like I need a few more pointers.
Am I still going to keep keeping my knees as tight as they possibly can be?
You don't have to. What we most care about is what the skis are doing on the snow. So some people can still have their skis real close together, but we can if if we have just a little bit wider, like a natural hip width stance, just like a normal athletic stance, we can widen that out just a little bit.
Okay, great.
Being able to make this my job is just something that is so incredibly special. And sometimes I'll be out there skiing and I'll just, I'll start laughing. Like, it's just such an enjoyable feeling that I feel really privileged to be able to experience on such a regular basis.
After a day.
Yeah, in her story, I mean, she said it, is that she was going there as a kid, and that was her dream, was to be on the mountain. And that's what her job is now. She runs the whole department for the ski instructors, and it's just amazing when somebody decides at a young age they want to do something, and then is successful and does it. It's a pretty special thing.
She does it. Exactly. Yeah.
So this is the Rocks tasting room, which again, thanks Kara for the cocktail. Cheers.
Spent carving the slopes, I was in a serious mood for food and drink, and I hit the jackpot.
I can tell you that I have been skiing for the first time in a decade.
Awesome.
So I would really like protein and booze.
Okay.
So however that comes.
All the liquor and all the beer is from Montana.
All the liquor is from Montana?
Yes, ma'am.
I had no idea.
I believe we have about 24 distilleries from Montana that are showcased here.
Wow. Well, what would you suggest?
Probably the most popular one is a Huckleberry Mule.
A mule?
Yeah.
Oh, sure, I'll
And
do
it's
that.
got huckleberry vodka in it.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Huckleberries. So do they grow huckleberries here in Montana?
Oh yeah. Huckleberries are all over the place.
How long have you been here?
I moved up here in '94 when I was 19. So
Okay.
I've been here for about 28 years, something like that.
I mean, so you must really know the community here.
We do, and we love it.
One thing about being a popular ski resort is just that camaraderie, and whether you've lived here most of your life or the people who are just visiting for 3 days, you want to be a part of that.
100%.
If it's just a tourist destination, it's never going to work. It really has to be community first.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Absolutely. That's how we feel.
Give me a
That's absolutely how we
huckleberry
feel.
mule and I say the nicest
right?
things about anybody.
But if I didn't get to eat something soon, I wasn't going to be nice for much longer.
How's your pho?
Delicious.
I will take some pho. I would love that.
Perfect.
Another surprise, you'll find a traditional Vietnamese dish made Montana style with bison. It's expertly prepared by Kara's husband and co-owner, Ben.
Whoa!
This is a pho with bison.
Oh my gosh. That is I've never had bison. What made you want to do a pho?
It's really like one of my favorite things to eat, you know. And then we have a really small kitchen, so
That is wonderful.
yeah, people enjoy what we have here.
Well, I'm enjoying what you have a lot. And this is the only bowl I will be enjoying while I'm here, as opposed to the ones up on the mountain.
That was good. That was good. Very
This
good.
is my bowl of choice.
Well, you made a good choice.
For anyone that's not skiers, when you say a bowl in skiing, it refers to usually the back of the ski resort that's not groomed. It's just wild skiing, and it's it's really for advanced people that you got to know what you're doing to ski in a bowl. That's
Yeah. Sometimes there's not even a lift, so you can get down, but then you're going to have to hike back up again. Or if there's a little more outback skiing, you usually need like a shovel on your back just in case you need to dig yourself out.
Yeah.
It's more serious. So I stuck with the pho.
yeah. And this was the day I arrived to Big Sky. I wasn't really starting to scout things until the morning, and I got in kind of late. I was trying to find a late lunch and wandered in there, and that's what I had for lunch that day. And I was like, "This is good stuff. We gotta do something here." It was definitely
Did you just stumble on that?
Yeah,
I didn't realize
I walked
that.
in there.
Montana is a great place to find dinosaurs because if you want to find a dinosaur, you have to go to rocks of the right age for dinosaurs. And in Montana, a lot of rock from the right age of dinosaurs is right at the surface. You can see the rocks all around you, and a lot of it isn't covered up in roads and parking lots and malls as it might be elsewhere. I'm Dr. John Scannella, and I've loved dinosaurs since I was a really little kid, about 2 or 3 years old. I'm the John R. Horner Curator of Paleontology at Museum of the Rockies, Montana State University, and that basically means that I determine the scope of research and collections insofar as paleontology at the museum.
The Museum of the Rockies is about an hour from Big Sky in Bozeman, and its wide variety of unique exhibits includes an extensive collection of dinosaur artifacts.
There's a large number of dinosaur growth series on display at the museum, so having examples of one dinosaur, say Tyrannosaurus or Triceratops, from little juvenile examples all the way up to really, really big examples of that dinosaur. And so we can see how this animal was changing as it grew up from a baby to an adult. If we look at Triceratops, for example, with the different growth stages, we can see how the horns on top of the head were changing shape as it got bigger and how the frill at the back of the skull was changing. And there aren't many museums around the world where you can see as many growth stages of as many dinosaurs as you can see here at Museum of the Rockies.
Within the museum's walls is one of the largest collections of North American dinosaurs in the world. This viewing lab is where visitors can see tedious removal of rock encased in fossils so that these specimens can then be studied.
And all the fossils that you have here, were they all found in Montana?
Almost all the fossils in the museum are from Montana or just around the edges. This is a tibia of a big duck-billed dinosaur.
Those are favorites, right? Everyone loves the
I like them
duck-bill.
too.
Yeah. How long ago did this dinosaur roam the earth?
Oh, this one is about 76 million years ago or so.
So what can something that roamed the earth 76 million years ago really tell us as human beings today?
Oh, well, we've only been roaming the earth for quite a thin slice of time.
Yeah.
And so if we dive down through the layers of time, we can actually kind of see what were dinosaurs doing over long millions of years. And if the environment changed in a certain way, how did that impact what was going on with the dinosaurs? So in a way, we can look back at what was happening with the dinosaurs and perhaps get some insights into what might be happening with us in the environment, or what could happen if it was to change in a certain way. So I think there's a lot we can learn by seeing what the dinosaurs did and what happened to them.
Do you still have dinosaur pajamas? Come on, say yes.
I think I do.
You have dinosaur pajamas?
Several sets.
I'm pretty sure I do.
Yeah, it's what dinosaurs are those. It's just, I love being around dinosaurs because it doesn't happen often, right? And the bones of, and because it's just a reminder that they existed, and it's just something that I always forget. And then when you go back, you're like, oh my gosh, and it really makes you. I always feel like it taps into your childhood because that's when you really understood and loved dinosaurs. Our kids went through that phase. I went through that phase, and so whenever you get a chance to be amongst, dinosaurs, bones, skeletons, life, I say go for it, because it's just a reminder, again, just of things you couldn't possibly imagine existed, and they did. And I loved it. It's just, and just knowing how Montana is known for not only dinosaurs, but the T-Rex as well. So it was a great place. I was so glad we got permission to go there, and you scouted that, and and that's not in Big Sky. That's actually in Bozeman. But you knew that was probably important to show.
Yeah, in Bozeman is about an hour away, maybe 45 minutes, depending on where you're going to Bozeman, but from Big Sky. But you're probably flying into Bozeman to get to Big Sky, probably. So it's certainly easy to stop and visit that museum. So many musea have dinosaur bones, and New York has it, London has it. They're all over. But I mean, Montana and I think Alberta, north of it in Canada, is where a lot of those fossils were found. It's kind of the place where these things were discovered. So it's a little more important there, I think, versus just seeing bones that were brought in from Montana and New York, which is nice. Susie mentions that Bozeman's a great town, and it certainly is. We'll actually be going back to Bozeman in a few episodes for our Maker special. We filmed another scene in Bozeman that day for that episode, and I that was one of my favorite scouting days in Bozeman, was visiting maker after maker after maker after maker that were all doing such interesting things. It's a really cool town, Bozeman, with a lot of creative people there that, all are doing interesting things. And, we had to pick one, but honestly, all of them were cool. We'll talk about that more of that during that episode. But so we kind of spent a full day in Bozeman, but for this episode, it was just the scene at the museum. I think Marianne lives in Bozeman, and I missed this while we were talking about huckleberries, the huckleberry mule that you drank at the Rocks tasting room. Every once in a while, you run into a black bear competing for your huckleberry bush in Montana. Is that the lone mountain behind you? That might be the lone mountain behind you there, Marianne? Maybe. I don't know. There's a nice mountain there.
Pretty picture, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a special place. But yeah, Bozeman was great. But then we went back to Big Sky for the rest of the episode.
Returning back to Big Sky, I learned that the Montana landscape provided inspiration for many different people in many different ways.
This gemstone is called Montana agate, and it is from the banks of the Yellowstone River, which originates in Yellowstone National Park and flows through Montana.
Well, is that a little diamond?
That is a little diamond, little playful diamond.
Is that your signature?
It's one of them, yeah. Something that puts it off kilter a little bit that you wouldn't see everywhere.
And what always surprises me about jewelry is when you look at it, they're so delicate and light, and yet how you make them, you're almost like a construction worker. You've got your sanders, you've got your saws, you've got your visors in there. It's a real, I think, contrast.
That's what I like about jewelry, is that it has my hands on it, that it's made by a human that you meet, and I do a lot of thought and heart into it.
You've got quite the view out your gallery/studio space, and so I would imagine that Montana just inspires you, and you really take from that. Could you really do this anywhere other than Big Sky, Montana, or is this where you really want to be?
I met my husband here. We're raising 2 kids here, and watch this community grow and know everybody in the community. So our roots are deep, and we can't think of being anywhere else.
Yeah, I think the reason we wanted to feature that place is that Big Sky is not a discount budget location. We should have probably established that in the beginning. It's a beautiful place, but it's a lot of expensive things there, and jewelry is not cheap either. But the fact that she makes it there in that workshop, that's literally, you can watch the people from the showroom making the jewelry. It's the same building, it's the same place. We love that, and being able to feature someone doing something in location like that. It certainly, it's special to be able to see an artisan, doing the thing they love, but certainly these gemstones and that the stuff that you can only get in Montana, and then someone making jewelry from it there is pretty special.
Yeah, I agree. And when we're choosing to do these scenes, what we don't want people to do is change the channel because, well, I don't wear jewelry or I don't have an interest in jewelry. So it needs to really be about the artist and the maker pretty quickly. That needs to happen, or we know we'll lose people, and we don't. And so we really felt that there was so much about her that embodied why you go to Montana in the first place. And of course, her jewelry represents Montana and that handmade quality. And again, just that roughness that you don't expect, that is in the making, but not in the wearing. And then, once all of a sudden it becomes jewelry, it's very delicate and beautiful. But yeah, there she is with like a blowtorch. So we loved that aspect too. So that's something that we're always striving for. We understand, as people who are putting together a travel series, that there are going to be subjects that people are not going to be interested in at all. I don't know, maybe it's fashion for some, maybe it's cigars, or, cars for other people. But if we tap into the person who makes these things, who created this business, then we know we have something that's universally interesting.
Yeah. So I love this scene.
Skeleton River starts in Yellowstone Park and flows 50 miles, picking up pristine mountain water along the way. This is one of the purest water sources in the world and one of the most famous rivers for fly fishing.
This river holds rainbow trout and brown trout and our mountain whitefish. And the current is going to bring bugs off of the rocks or out of the sand, take those bugs down, and these trout are just hanging out in a lane and they're gonna see it coming. I think I might want that one, and they're gonna eat it and then they're gonna go right back into the sea. Okay. So what we wanna do is we wanna present our flies upriver. My name is Carly Luft, and I've been fishing since I was about 4 years old.
Carly is a veteran and Purple Heart recipient, and during her recovery, she found that the pastime she had loved as a child offered a perfect holistic path to healing.
Fly fishing has been a way for me to reconnect with myself, to reconnect with nature, and to express myself artistically.
I'm a total newbie to fly fishing, but have always wanted to try it, even in the winter. Gallatin River Guides outfit you with all the gear and a really great guide.
I remember being a little girl when I first saw flies and fishing lures. I walked into my grandpa's garage and he had tackle boxes everywhere, and I opened it up. When I saw flies and lures for the first time, that was like jewelry to me. It was just so pretty and shiny and just all these different colors.
In the guiding industry, we always want the mom. The mom is the best. The mom catches all the fish, and I think a part of that is because she listens. So what you're gonna do is here, point, and just extend that elbow. See how you're in a current now?
Yeah.
Like things to be easy in fly fishing.
Yeah.
You know, let the river do the work. There you go. I used to treat people in naturopathic medicine, and a large obstacle to healing that I would find in my practice was stress. People were under a lot of stress and they needed to find a way to calm down and relax. And my way of dealing with stress and decompressing has always been through fishing.
Eagle. Look at that. Wow.
Yeah.
That just right there made this whole trip worth it. You know,
Yeah.
to be in the middle of nature, fishing, and then seeing an eagle. Oh my gosh, this is why people come to experience that.
When you are in nature and you hear the water and you reconnect, once we reconnect to that environment, so quickly our stress goes down. We can focus on something with mindfulness, we can be patient, and just get away from it all. I find that that's just a huge factor in fly fishing. Is at the end of the day, even if you didn't catch a fish, you feel like you did something and you went out in nature. It just feels amazing.
So I think we have to establish we did not catch a fish. Sam, you're muted. Or did you hit the mute button or something? Maybe you can. Why don't you just close it and come back in, and yeah, we can't hear you. So if you close the whole browser and click the link back again, you should come right back in. Yeah. So we didn't catch a fish, and then I think the beauty of that scene is about mindfulness and about how the rhythm of fly fishing and being out in nature and having this moment where your brain is totally focused just on that one thing is a really special thing. And I think there's a part of me sometimes when I fish, and I'm not a big fisherman, but when I have done it, catching the fish almost is the worst part, because then you have this fish that you have to deal with, which is scary. And I'm not a fisherman. I don't know what to do with it and how to get the hook out. And, this thing's flopping around and miserable. And, so you're back, Sam. Can you?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Great.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so I was just saying about it, the mindfulness, and Carly was awesome. Just in her background, I mean, everything about her background was beautiful. I mean, being a veteran and her journey to where she was, and just doing all the psycho, I don't know. You spent a lot more time with
She's
her
unexpected.
than I did. Yeah.
Yeah, but you made sure we found someone like her, and I think if we speak about like the creative process that goes behind our show, that really is instrumental in it. We don't just find a fly fishing guide. We make sure that that person has a story, a passion that we also connect with along with that sport. And so Carly, so it is going from fly fishing outfit to fly fishing outfit, saying this is what we're looking for. We're not looking for just like that guy who does it every single day and this is his life. We want someone who brings something else that people are going to connect with. And one thing I always remember from my Montana days, even back from, 1999, is that fly fishing was the fastest growing sport for women. Women were really catching on, and it is that peacefulness. So I knew I wanted to sort of convey that in some way, that this is something that people are really bringing into their lives because of that mindfulness aspect. So yeah, it hit every note, but we search for that and we don't rest until we find that person. And she was incredible. She was wonderful to spend time with. I loved how she, the flies were like jewelry to her. She was fantastic. So there was that part of the scene, but then there was the whole behind the scenes that you didn't see, which is how we shot that. I don't know if Brian's still on with us, but all of our team, they were all in waders as well in that river. So, you realize like, how are they getting those shots of us on the bank? Well, they were in the river getting those shots. And we had a drone that made it a little easier. My stylist, Christina, came out in the middle of the river to put on lip gloss and made sure my hair didn't look stupid in a hat, and because it can get a little odd. But it was funny, Kevin, when we were doing that, I was like, I'll come to you, Christina. And Christina's like, no way. I've waited my whole life to go out in the middle of a river in waders. Like, we were all so excited because we just get excited. The whole team, our whole team gets excited about doing these things we've never been able to do. So she all she wanted to do was get in that river and say you were in a river in winter when it was 12 degrees out. So yeah, there was a lot going on in that scene that came together because everyone was so passionate.
I'm just having the flashback of building an hour into the shooting day for you guys to put waders on.
Yeah, that's so true. That's right.
we have tight schedules, and we had to give up an hour of it just to get everybody to get their gear, because it's not an easy thing to put all that stuff on. Brian, our director of photography, saying Josh is the hero of that scene. He's the one that caught. I guess he got the eagle.
He got the eagle, and I think Brian, chime in. Did you get into the river, or was it Josh? I think Josh might, and I think Josh got like down on his knees in the river, and I don't remember seeing Brian do that. And now I'm thinking, well, that's when you're the DP. You get to make those decisions. You go in the river. I'll stand out here on the bank.
I'll be up here at the hut getting the long shot, and you could be in the river doing all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Brian's job is difficult enough. And you start to, when you're so cold after a while, you don't think as strongly. You do start to lose your, like I am right now because it's 10 o'clock and my mind goes. But so everyone just had to kind of think on their feet here because our brain was freezing.
And the answer is Josh got in.
Josh got in, yeah. Josh.
I feel like Brian's saying that like, Josh got in.
Yeah. But you guys all skied. I remember that. So when we shot those skiing scenes, and you're going to see another one, our whole team was on skis. Everyone was on skis. Even Christina, our stylist, she was on skis. And we had to just keep moving as a team. So yeah, awesome. Fun show. Like Brian said,
I always love visiting local businesses, but today I'm helping to open a brand new one.
So with the macaron, you have to have this like crispy outside and this soft
Fluffy
inside.
Yep.
How do you do that with high altitude?
As long as the meringue's whipped really well at the perfect temperature, then it should work perfectly.
Then it should work perfectly.
I'm Christine Lugo Jurgensen, and I'm opening up my first ever bakery here in Big Sky, Montana.
Right now, it's really cold. Does that affect how you...
Okay, so I had croissants that were made beautifully. They're right on the speed rack. They would not puff up. They would not proof because it's too cold.
So even though we're in a bakery and you're in a proofing machine,
and I have
it still senses the cold
outside
Yep.
and the croissants.
Yep.
These are very sensitive pastries.
It has a mind of its own. I don't know what to tell you.
So being born in Brooklyn, New York, being raised in Florida, I never thought I'd be opening up a bakery here in Big Sky, Montana. I thought it was like mountain men or something, and you're like living in the wilderness and like
There are bears.
But there are bears. There are bears. But then you find a really beautiful community where everybody supports each other, where you can let your kids just kind of run free. And it sounds ridiculous, it sounds crazy, but literally, that's Montana.
And you've brought your mom here too.
Temporarily, yes, but I feel like she lives here more than she does live in Florida.
How do you like it here?
I love it.
Yeah.
It's different from New York, from Florida.
Yeah.
The people here are more like a community, so they take care of each other.
Sweet Buns is doing a soft opening with friends coming out to sample the baked goods, tea, and coffee. Christine's new business in Big Sky gets rousing support.
Double chocolate cupcakes, these are my favorite. And then we have apple turnovers and our chocolate chip cookies. They're a little gooey in the middle. So. To have my business open up here is absolutely amazing because of the support of the community and everything else that we have here. So, you know what? Who wants sweet buns for breakfast? Everybody.
And even some mountain men can like a pink room.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah, she was.
It was exciting being there. I felt it because I was there a month before you were. That it was just She was still doing construction when I was there. It was fun to see that because usually most of the places we go to are established, and it was a nice contrast.
And great baked goods. If we could start our day with baked goods, and we celebrated Josh's birthday there, and she made him a really amazing cake. So
Really?
it was a nice moment with the crew as well. Yep, yeah.
That's nice. Wow.
Montana is my home. From mountain peaks to prairie lands, places I have known.
At the Lone Mountain Ranch, a sleigh ride and dinner at the lodge complete a perfect day.
Bruce, how long have you been driving a sleigh?
I'm up to 32 years.
And how are these horses? Are they good sleigh horses?
Oh yeah, they're good as sleigh. I've run wagons in the summer with them. We've done horse logging with them, mowed hay with them, and pulled cars out of the ditch.
People coming here are from all over. What is the reaction you usually get?
They just kind of sit there and try to soak it up. At first it's quiet, and then it's just like, wow. I think it has an effect on a lot of folks, especially if they've not been out west,
So it's the quiet that they tune into first.
I think the quiet and the space and the friendliness. And I'm bound to ramble, yes I'm bound to roam. But when I'm in off the road now, boys, Montana is my home.
I'm getting in one last big ski run in Big Sky, and I'm doing it.
Before we get to that, so yeah, Bruce was great. Just Montana guy gets to drive sleigh horses and sing songs and write songs. I mean, he wrote that song. It's his song. Not a bad world to live in, I think, if you're Bruce.
No, and where we were, what was the name of the? I'm sorry, what was the name of the place
The
that we were
Lone
at?
Mountain Ranch, I think, something like that.
The Lone Mountain Ranch, yeah.
I think
that
so,
was
yeah.
opened in like 1930. It's a really beautiful ranch, and you are on like an amazing cross-country ski property as well. So not everything is like severe downhill. So that's where a lot of people go, and you stay in these beautiful cabins. So if you're more of a snowshoer or a cross-country skier, that's where you would go. And I really loved it because I would love to, as I'm getting older, I'm getting away from my downhill days, sadly. But I would really like to take up more of that skiing as well as snowshoeing. And that's a beautiful place. It was a beautiful place.
My boss makes me work really hard. And
Is that
when
me?
I was, that's you. And when I was in Big Sky Scouting we did 2 scenes on the mountain. The first one was with Catherine, the ski
that's
instructor,
right.
and the second one is the one we're about to see. But I spent a full day on the mountain with the dog. Actually, 3 scenes. The dogs, so we were on the actual ski resort property for a lot, and the PR lady was awesome. She's like, "Hey, do you want to ski? We can get you ski rentals." And I was like, no, I'm busy. I'm working, and I got on the lift without skis, and about 20 seconds later, I'm like, what am I doing? I had a chance to ski Big Sky, even for an hour or 20 minutes, doesn't matter. I had a chance to do that. I said no. And I was like, what? It's like, I was mad at myself the rest of the day. I mean, I did a lot of work to do, but it was like, I could have, 30 minutes, I could have just gotten a run in. It would have been amazing.
Yep.
Instead, I'm clopping around with my normal boots on, being jealous of everyone, including this next person.
With someone who, shall we say, could really challenge me.
Hi, I'm Bode Miller. I am a 5-time Olympian, 6-time medalist, 4-time World Championship medalist, and a resident of beautiful Spanish Peaks in Big Sky, Montana.
We both grew up in New Hampshire. We probably skied the exact same mountains. We went different paths. You went more towards Triple Diamond. I kept on the bunny slopes. It's really interesting to me to see someone of your experience in mountain and culture choose one to make your home, and you chose this one.
You see these mountain towns in Europe that have culture that's hundreds of years in the making. And the US, we just don't have that because we're not that old. But something about the raw aspect of Big Sky, and a lot of the people live within, driving distance of here. It's not a transient lifestyle as some resort towns are, where the employees seem almost interchangeable. Here, I think it's got a really natural feel. It feels like a hometown mountain, but yet it's the size of any world-class resort.
So how do you feel about 2 New Hampshire kids taking a run together?
The snow's awesome. I think we'll find some really good stuff out there. A traveler coming to Big Sky is going to find the ultimate outdoor playground. Some people come for the world-class fly fishing. The skiing and snowboarding is unbelievable, and the Nordic skiing and snowshoeing. It's a buffet of the mountain outdoor lifestyle.
Montana is a great place to fly fish because you're away from artificial lights, you're away from artificial noise, from music, from your cell phone. So there's really no distractions, and you get back on this rhythm with nature, feeling nice and tired because you've been out all day, and just really feeling like you've accomplished something.
When I got here, one of the things I noticed was beautiful vistas and scenery all around, and the exposures of the rocks throughout large parts of the state. And in those rocks, you can really see the deep past of this area, from dinosaurs to other creatures that are all around us here in Montana.
You guys should not be afraid to come out here. You guys should come hang out. We're friends with each other. We're family. So you know what? It's just a safe, beautiful place to be.
Even more so than a destination, Montana is a state of mind for a lot of people coming here. What do you think the Montana state of mind is that we're all trying to reach when we come to visit?
You try to get a little slowing down.
Slow down.
A little bit of peace and quiet. And it's important to stop and listen to nothing.
And that is why Big Sky, Montana is a place to love. For information about this and other episodes.
We're going to need to talk about Bode Miller because that was a highlight of my life. I've known Bode Miller, not personally, but just growing up in New Hampshire. And so to be able to talk to him was incredible. And in all those AVs that they talk directly to camera, I'm the one who's usually asking them the questions that they then bring to the camera. And so do you know how nervous I was to be like, okay, Mr. Miller, if you could look into the camera and just tell us a little bit about yourself. And what I want him to do is tell us exactly what he told us, but I don't want to be like, can you just kind of list all the amazing accolades you've ever done? And he just did it perfectly. And I was like, oh, thank God, because I didn't want to be like, how many times did you win the world champion? Can you? And he was just perfect. And I also loved what he said about the mountain and mountain culture and how Montana it's not a transient
community. I thought that really hit the nail on the head of what Big Sky Resort is about.
I had that all wrong. I assumed you guys devolved into speaking New Hampshire to each other. Hey, you wicked pisser. What's your world championship number? And he starts rattling off. And everyone's wondering, what are they saying to each other? What is happening here? Yeah.
It's wicked awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of my high school friends went nuts, by the way, when they saw that. They're like, you got to talk to Bode Miller? I'm like, yeah, Ken Burns is next. All us New Hampshireites, we just hang out.
So we have time for
episode. I hope people like
it. If anyone has any questions or comments, please wade in. We're fortunate tonight that both Facebook and YouTube comments are working. So love to hear what anyone else to say about Big Sky in Montana. I am looking forward to going back. I know that I took a picture of it. I didn't want to show it, but that morning I left, because I left from there to fly to Madison, Wisconsin. The Bozeman Airport is just the loveliest place. Like, there's a fire going.
Uh-huh.
You have the view of the mountains.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
True.
come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
You think about the New York City airport experience, and then you go to Bozeman, Montana. It's like, I don't want to leave here.
Yeah. We have put that up there. Do you see that?
Yeah, good job.
Yeah. So if you saw, you could see it. It was like right here. I had a little like white puffy thing, and that was it was basically a wig mic. You know how like in Broadway, that's how if you ever see a Broadway show, they wear their wig mics here, and then they put the wig over it, so there's no like anything to get tangled into. So that was a big issue: is how are you going to hear us when we've got all this stuff on, and then it also makes noise whenever there's a mic, wherever it is, there's friction, and Chad can hear that. And so, and he had to put those mics on without gloves because it's really hard to operate little pieces. And he did that. Oh, Chad, he wins the award. Brian has been working with Chad for, I don't know, Brian, how many years? 10, 15? We love Chad.
I'd say at least 10, yeah.
And yeah. And so they're a team. And
a few people have mentioned that. Basically, if you go to Yellowstone, you can come up north from Yellowstone to fly out of the other option to fly. I think there's a West Yellowstone airport,
sure.
or you can fly out of Bozeman to get, and then you basically drive through Big Sky to do that. And we did that. If you remember, we were at Yellowstone with the kids, and we drove right by Big Sky. We didn't stop. We didn't have time to stop, but we drove right through there to go to the airport to fly home from Bozeman. Our good friend Dan is asking, what didn't you get to do in Big Sky that you would love to do? I can answer while you're thinking.
Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna say more skiing. Skiing without a camera crew behind me, slowing me down. I needed to feel the wind. I needed to just go. I actually love tree skiing. That's what I loved growing up doing when I was in New Hampshire, which was wicked awesome. Oh, and there were so many beautiful trails off into the woods, and I was just looking longingly, but I've got a film crew, and all of a sudden I'm the executive producer, so now I have to work. But yeah, I think more skiing. That's what I wish I could have done, because again, I think those days are becoming few and further between because of my knees. And I can't, you get to this point in your life, and I'm sure we're all there, where you're like, I can't get hurt. Like, I can't. Like, if I get hurt, I don't have a job. Like, we don't. So we
all don't have jobs. Yeah, it's not
more
just
cautiously.
you.
Yeah.
For me,
but when you ski while you're working, then it's fine.
Right. My big regret was I found out too late that on like Wednesday nights they do outdoor curling in the hockey rink in Big Sky, and I was there on a Wednesday, but by the time I found out about it, it was too late. But that would have been a fun experience to curl outside with those guys in negative 10 degrees. My good friend Chris from high school saying, I should ski next time. My boss approves of it. Chris, she's nice now.
That's right.
But, when push comes to shove, she's like, no ski time. Work time. Yeah, I know how it goes. We also I remember we scouted some dog sledding there. there's a lot there, there are a lot of things we scouted that didn't work out. I went snowmobiling, which was a lot of fun. And by the time I was done, I was like, there was no way we're going to feature this on our show. It was just too dangerous with camera gear and just, it was fun. And I would certainly do it not filming, but just, we'd have to bring all our gear on snowmobiles that we would have to drive. And it was just too much. But I spent an hour snowmobiling on the upper ridges around Big Sky, which was fun. The dog sledding thing was they were so busy they didn't have time for us in the end. I mean, it was
Oh, that's
problem.
right. That's right.
You go to some of these places, when I explained to them what we would need to film their dog sledding, they were like, "Yeah, we can't just give up like a whole afternoon.
That time.
Like, forget it."
Exactly. Yep.
Jeff's asking a good question. What do you find different skiing in Montana versus skiing on the East Coast? Be nice.
I would think that, growing up on the East Coast, it was always granular. So I knew how to ski on granular, which is ice basically. And when I went out west, and I skied a lot in Utah, it was just powder, and it's just incredible because it snows there all the time. And just to have this, 5 feet of snow base, as well as tons of space. Again, East Coast, we're all bunched up in the same area. Even these massive mountains like Killington or Stowe or Waterville Valley, Breckenridge, Breckenridge is Colorado, but there's so many of us here that when you get out west, there's just so much space. You're not waiting in line for the ski lifts. So it's just it's such a pleasurable experience to be out west. So that's the big difference. And I do both. I ski and snowboard, and I ski in granular because I'm used to it, and I snowboard in powder because that's what I'm used to. So.
Wow. When was the last time you snowboarded? I can't remember you ever snowboarding.
I snowboarded. It was pre-Kev. But yeah, I snowboarded in my 30s.
So 20 years ago, you were a snowboarder.
Yeah. And snowboarding is easier on your limbs. So it's what is it? Because you're just one unit, when you fall, you just kind of fall. Where skis, you're 4 different, entities, and you just kind of go off in all extremities. And with a snowboard, you're more symbiotic. So I always felt that snowboarding was a little easier on your body. Sometimes when you fall and you land on your tailbone, that hurts.
Our director of photography has opinions. He's got opinions.
That's so true. So Brian is a avid skier. He skis how many days out of the year?
It used to be like 90 days a year. Crazy amounts of skiing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's a serious skier. So that's why he loved Montana the best. And so skiers rule. I would say I'm a skier though, Brian.
Any last questions? Oh, my brother's saying that you snowboarded when we were at Seven Springs 10 years ago. I don't remember that, but I believe him. I'd say Debbie brought up a good point as to how people out west, we are fortunate to live in a very large country with a lot of diverse opinions and skin tones and everything else. But I would say the first time I went out west with a guy from the East Coast, people are different there. I mean, it's just such a friendly, welcoming. I totally agree with that, Debbie. It's
there's more space.
Well, yeah, you're not fighting for real estate in the same way, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I love being out west. I love being in Montana. It was a really special thing, and I love our episode there. Big Sky was, we were. I'd say we were a little not nervous, but we're not an adventure sport show, so this wasn't going to be about skiing the entire time. So it's trying to find other stories in a ski area in winter. It took that's not, people don't go to Big Sky in general in the winter to not ski. It's the main thing people do there. So for us, we were, trying to find these experiences. And, I spent a lot of time chasing down things we never did. I mean, I spent a couple hours trying to find a chef to do an outdoor cooking segment on a fire with like Dutch ovens and coals and stuff. And we got close, but we didn't find the right thing. So we didn't do that. But it was a great experience, a great episode. Cindy asked where we stayed in Montana, and there's a fancy name for it, but basically it's the Residence Inn in Big Sky. There's a do you remember the name? It's called the something, but it's really a Residence Inn. It's like the Charles or something like that.
It was great. It was beautiful, and we all had our own kitchens, which it's wonderful. So at the end of the day, it's hard. I mean, we were exhausted. These were exhausting days.
Yeah.
And then to kind of like get changed and then try to find a place to eat. And if it's busy and you have to wait for a table, it's hard. So we were right around the corner from a supermarket, which I loved. And so I just got my own food and ate in my own kitchen every night. And I loved it.
Yeah. And I'd say that when you're working really hard and everybody's on vacation and you really feel that, it can be kind of annoying. Just because, you're certainly not poo-pooing their great time. It's not about that, but it's just like you're jealous of their great time. They don't have to get up at 5 a.m. to be in hair and makeup the next day. It's just, it's a different kind of experience. So having the ability to control your own destiny and, it is a nice thing. And, the guys
that
in
is
Big
the
Sky,
thing that I would say that because we've been like playing up the West Coast. They're so lovely. It's nice, real snow. East Coast busy, whatever. But man, you get your food quick in the East Coast. People wait on you. People are efficient. You're gonna get that bagel. You're right, Jeff. Bagels are better here, and you're gonna get it in 3 minutes. If you don't get a bagel in 3 minutes or fed in 5 minutes, you're out of there. And if you go anywhere else, you're just like, oh my gosh, it's 45 minutes and we still haven't gotten our turkey and cheese sandwich. So it's there is more of a like, okay, we all have to check our East Coast attitudes. We understand. We have we're a little impatient. But yeah, so that's where I would say East Coast can trump the West Coast a bit, where it's just a little quicker.
Yeah,
and when you're hungry,
Debbie,
that matters.
And Debbie asked as well if we take our kids there, and absolutely. I mean, we kind of did.
Oh my God!
Actually, we were in Wyoming for Yellowstone, but they loved it. We had a great time there. And I think.
I remember how miserable they were when we took them to Maine to ski. That was never good.
That was a bad.
I want them to get on. That was really bad. But I think we should get them skiing this year because again, I'm I'm a skier. They need to know how to ski.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Well, we had a great night, and it was it's kind of weird having the place myself here, but great to have you dialing in from our upstate residence. And next week, same time, same place here on Facebook and YouTube. Next week, we are going to be visiting the amazing city of Savannah. And that's Samantha having a smoked oyster roast, which with all of the characters, literally everyone that was in the episode came back for that scene, which we've done a few times. And I wish we could do that for every episode.
What about friendliness?
Yeah, it's
you do. You always like that. Exactly.
Yeah, it's just a fun kind of way of recapping what we did for that particular episode. But so we'll be here next Tuesday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks everyone for joining us, and can't wait to talk about Savannah. It's a great episode.
Yeah. Until then, everybody have